Cape Cod Broadcasting weaves the listening environments of 99.9 WQRC, Ocean 104.7, WFCC Classical 107.5, Cape Country 104, and CapeCon.com's website experience to reflect the lifestyles of the people who live, work, and play on Cape Cod. We hope that you enjoy this podcast.
I'm Laura Reckford, and this is Sunday Journal. I'm here in the studio with Hilary Greene, Executive Director of the Cape Islands and South Coast Mass chapter of the Red Cross. Hilary, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much, Laura.
Now, this is a big year for the local Red Cross branch, the 100th anniversary.
Yes.
Now, how did this branch get started? Give me a little history.
Well, it's interesting. We were chartered as of July 14th, 1915. We were started by Miss Mary Ethel Young and a bunch of ladies in her living room who gathered together to serve the countries and people at war. So this is 1915. Europe was at war in World War I.
Now, did they live in the Mid-Cape and Hyannis, or
Harwich.
where did they live? In Harwich,
yes.
Okay.
So Harwich was the founding town of the local Red Cross. And so they got together and started it and did everything from setting up canteens for soldiers who might be going off to war, but also supporting the communities and the families of those at war. Because the Red Cross was started by Clara Barton based upon her experience in the Civil War, seeing how soldiers needed more than just medical attention, but also care and comfort. And so she started the National Red Cross in 1881, and so many, many chapters were started during World War I. 1915, I guess, was the year that a lot of chapters started. But we're still here and very proud to still be here.
And so these ladies, they decided they were going to start it, and would they sort of respond when events happened, or how did they go about what they did?
It started more like the Clara Barton care and comfort of things. So everything from rolling bandages to, again, any local military base. Camp Edwards wasn't around yet, but and families that were affected by war and disasters locally. Disasters really came a little later, but these ladies were working together in what they could do to help people in need, no matter what they needed.
And maybe they had nursing backgrounds like Clara Barton. Were they in the nursing field?
I don't know as much about them. One of our founding members, Miss Ida Taylor, worked at Cape Cod 5-cent Savings Bank for 50 years. She was part of our chapter for 50 years. And so she's somebody I know that stayed on the Cape and was the first woman vice president of a bank in all of Massachusetts and worked at Cape Cod 5.
And these ladies, the group that founded it, probably some of them still have relatives in the area and so forth. Perhaps you hear from some of them sometimes.
I've been trying to track down as many as I can. I just met somebody in your lobby who's like, oh, my family has a connection going back to like World War II. I am looking for stories. So if anybody has local stories related to any of our folks from 1915 on, I'd love to hear them. We've gotten some great things dropped off, some old pins. We've got old uniforms. So you'll be able to see some of that.
And I don't know if you have the names of the founding group there, because we could read them off, and perhaps if people know that these are relatives of theirs, they could get in touch with you.
Yeah, I don't have many of the names, unfortunately. It's one of those things that we know about Ida Taylor, Mrs. Chester Murray. Interesting because of the time we cannot find her first name. She went even in her obituary. She was Mrs. Chester Murray.
That's how they used to do it.
Exactly. And Mrs. Charles Davis, another one. So there's Davis. There are a couple of Scudders.
We know they're still here.
Yep. And we've been trying to track down some people that way. But I don't have a full list at all, unfortunately.
But people can get in touch with you if they know that they had relatives who were involved way back when.
Look in your attic. You might find a box full of stuff.
Absolutely. Now, you have a bunch of events planned this summer marking the centennial. Tell us what's going on.
Well, I'm calling July 11th to 18th our Centennial Celebration Week. Our big event is just a birthday party for ourselves on July 11th at our chapter house in Hyannis. We're going to have an open house from 9 to 2, plus a blood drive. And we're going to treat our chapter house as a living museum. We've been in that building since 1958. We started in Harwich. Our first chapter house was in somebody's home in West Dennis and moved along. We were all over Hyannis. We moved all over, but we've been in this place since 1958.
And we should tell people that address so that they know.
286 South Street. one block down from Main Street. So on a Saturday in July, from 9 to 2, you can come to the chapter house. We'll have kids' activities. We'll have a blood drive. We have a touch-a-truck. We've got local fire stations bringing their trucks. We're going to have 4 C's ice cream, Red Cross raspberry tastings, a popcorn machine, CPR demonstrations. So we've got a lot of things going on. We'd love you to just come and, you've got kids, you're wandering around Main Street, come on down and learn a little bit about the Red Cross and see some really neat stuff.
That really sounds like something for the whole family. You have a lot of things for kids.
It really is. We're going to set up a simulated shelter, and you'll get to see a lot of the history. We've got scrapbooks going back to 1920. So
lots of fun. Now, that's for July 11th. Do you have other things going on that week?
Well, yeah. Also on July 11th, we're going to have a centennial ceremony with Representative William Keating, Brian Mantle, and Sarah Peake and Tim Whalen, our local state representatives, plus other folks. We're going to do a time capsule. We're going to seal that and present that, and we're going
to. Now, what will go in the time capsule? Do you have some things planned so far?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We've got some of the scrapbook type stuff, but we've got one of our heroes medals that we've done. We've got a disaster volunteer vest. We've got we're going to put in some of the technology of today, a cell phone, things like that, and we're going to have it ready to go to be opened in 2065 in 50 years.
We can think how amazing it would have been had they done that 100 years ago. That, of course, the things that they dealt was so different from what you do have now with the new technology.
Well, yeah, but we have a lot of uniforms from the volunteers. They had, dresses, they had jackets, they had suits, so we have some of those, so we have some of that. So we're going to keep the open house going all week, and then Thursday we've got a 2-mile run walk around historic Hyannis. We also have kids events, a 100-yard dash for kids 6 and under, and 7 to 12-year-olds will do a 1 mile.
So that's on Thursday, July 16th?
Yep,
okay.
Thursday, July 16th at 6:30, right at the Hyannis Village Green.
6:30 p.m.?
6:30 p.m., yes. Okay. It's not one of these early morning ones, so it's a great summer evening thing to do. You'll be right near Main Street, Hyannis, and you can enjoy a great night out. Again, very family-oriented, and it's a fundraiser for the Red Cross.
So you have the run, you have the big day of events on July 11th, and then open houses at the office on South Street in Hyannis all week. And what are the hours of that when people can come see that office?
8:30 to 4:30 Monday through Friday, and 9 to 2 on Saturday the 11th. Some ongoing things we have is our local fire stations are supporting us. We've got Donate 10 to Celebrate 100. Donate $10, and you'll get a great centennial sticker you can proudly display. We also have donation canisters and some local businesses. So we're looking to raise $100,000 from our local community between now and the end of the year. And we've got a good jump so far.
And I know fundraising is so important for you. And people may not realize, people think of the Red Cross as helping during emergencies, but you do so much more because you have classes and all different things going on.
Right. We're here every day of the year and doing everything from preparing our communities for disaster, doing preparedness training, and we don't get a single dollar from the federal government. We are chartered by Congress, but we do not receive federal funds. Our chapter and every Red Cross chapter has been locally supported. I don't receive national funds. I don't send my funds off to regional. I need to raise every dollar here to keep our chapter here and to keep all those services that are in times of need and actually preparing for disasters. So we've always been supported by our community. The volunteers are 94% of our workforce, and they're all your local friends and neighbors. No matter what the name of my chapter is, whether it's Cape Cod or Cape and Southeast, it is your local volunteers who respond and help prepare you.
It is very, very local. I'm Laura Reckford, and this is Sunday Journal. I'm talking to Hilary Greene, Executive Director of the Cape Islands and Southeast Mass chapter of the Red Cross. And we're talking about the different things the local Red Cross branch does in addition to helping people in emergencies. Do you have classes running this summer?
Oh, yes. Yeah, we have classes at our chapter house, CPR, first aid, AED, which is that defibrillator. We have dog and cat first aid. We have babysitter training. We have professional rescuer classes. So you can just go to redcross.org and look up the classes, put in your zip code. It'll tell you the upcoming classes. Some of them are even web-based. Mostly web-based. You do most of it online, come in for a quick 2-hour skills part, and you're certified.
A lot of handy things for really anyone could use those, and particularly if they're going to be volunteers. And, of course, the Red Cross really runs mostly on volunteers. Is that right? You're always looking for people?
Always looking for volunteers, whether you want to help us out in the office, serve on our board, or respond to fires any day of the day or night and time of year. Those are our disaster action team members. We have a lot of opportunities to get people involved, and I'd have to say it's one of the most rewarding volunteer jobs you'll ever have.
And in addition to helping the victims of disasters, you're always there to help the first responders, too.
Yes, yeah. It's something most people don't realize. So we do something called canteening. So even if it's a building that didn't have people in it and don't have people that need to be put in a hotel, we arrive so we can do water and coffee and snacks for the firefighters who really, even a small fire, they're out there for many hours in heavy equipment. And that's why the fire stations are helping to support us, is because we have such a symbiotic relationship. We support them and they support us.
Now, if people want to volunteer, but perhaps they don't have these different certifications that they might need, and you said people can also do office work, but how do you help people get certified for what they need to actually respond to emergencies?
For our disaster volunteers, there's classes. We have classes called Shelter Operations and Disaster Services Overview. So you sign up online. Of course, everything's online do a volunteer application and say what you're interested, and then you will get trained for whatever you need to do for us. And you can certainly do more than one thing or sign up for more than one type of opportunity.
And do those have a nominal cost of some sort?
There's no cost for
no free for
right.
The classes.
The CPR and first aid, those are paid classes that somebody might need it for a job or say, hey, you know what, I want to make sure I can help save a life. Those are paid classes, but to train our volunteers, that's all free.
And, of course, watching the local news, we see the Red Cross helping all over the country and all over the world. How is the worldwide organization run, and how do you fit into that?
Well, there's the International Red Cross and the National Red Cross. But, for example, nationally, we just sent 7 volunteers from our chapter area to Texas for those storms. We deployed them. And they are all volunteers. They get deployed for 2 weeks, leave their home, stay in either a hotel or a shelter, and help people at one of the worst times of their lives. And the people who do this are just amazing. So we have some of their stories on our website, too.
When you hear about these disasters and you're maybe watching TV and thinking, I wish I could help somehow, if they volunteer with the local Red Cross, they could actually help.
Yep, and get trained and then you sign up online to be deployed. Say, yes, I'm available, and then we will send you. Another big part of what we do is our blood drives. We help supply the local blood supply here. We're responsible for 40% of the national blood supply. And our blood goes where it's needed. And we, as I said, help supply over 50% to the local hospitals. And we also have the ability to pull in from other areas of the Red Cross. For example, all these snowstorms this year, a lot of blood drives got canceled. Well, the Red Cross was able to pull in blood from other areas to make sure our hospitals and our local community had the blood that was needed.
And I know there's always an enormous need in this area for blood.
Yes, and in the summer. Nobody thinks about blood donations. So come to my birthday party on July 11th and donate blood. We'll have the Bloodmobile there, and you can help do that. It kind of falls off of people's schedules, even our regular donors. Like, oh, I'm on vacation or whatever. So. And
just to remind people, can anyone donate blood? How does that work?
Well, there are a lot of different restrictions and questions you get asked, but to just present yourself as a donor and go through the questionnaire with the nurse and find out would be the best, because you just never know. The FDA regulations change all the time, so it's hard to keep up with.
Do you need to come in knowing your type of blood and that type of thing?
Nope. Just you can, again, get an appointment. We also have a blood donor app. Anybody with a smartphone, we have many, many Red Cross apps. You can sign up as a blood donor. You can have an emergency app. You can learn first aid and all of that. I have a hurricane app. So there's a lot of ways to stay in touch with the Red Cross and help us out when needed, too.
Lots of ways to participate. What do you think are the biggest misconceptions that people have about the Red Cross?
Number one, that we are this government organization and that we are fully funded and don't need local. And that what I'm facing here on the Cape is that because I've now become a bigger chapter, people think I'm not local anymore. But I can't tell people enough. We are a local organization in Hyannis and have been here for 100 years and hope to be here for another 100 years. So the Red Cross is such a big brand. I think sometimes people look at us, oh, we're just that great big organization. Well, come to our chapter house, meet our 1.5 person staff and all the volunteers.
It's very local. In the last couple of minutes, just to remind people about your events coming up.
Yeah, that would be great. So Saturday, July 11th from 9 to 2, it's our 100th birthday bash. We'll have everything from cake cutting, an open house, and some great guest speakers, and a time capsule, and lots of things to learn about the Red Cross. To July 16th at 6:30 p.m., Hyannis, the Centennial Run for the Red, with some youth events. You can run, walk, and it helps raise money for our local chapter. We also have we created a Centennial pin. And we also have a print from local artist Elizabeth Mumford that we're selling, again, to raise funds for our local chapter.
Lots going on with the local Red Cross for their centennial this year, and then the big event is July 11th, coming up, a full day of events, open houses all that week, and then the special run fundraiser later that week. And unfortunately, we're out of time. Thank you so much, Hilary Greene of the Cape Islands and Southeast Mass chapter of the Red Cross, for being here with me today.
Thanks, Laura. It's been wonderful.
I'm Laura Reckford, and this is Sunday Journal.
This podcast is a presentation of Cape Cod Broadcasting, which is solely responsible for its content. Thank you for listening. For more information, please visit us at capecodbroadcasting.com.